ByteDance Seed, the AI lab from ByteDance that also owns Douyin and TikTok, is already on its way to become the top Chinese AI labs, outpacing DeepSeek even. Not only have they proposed some of the most cutting-edge concepts and papers of the past few months, but they also have budgets magnitudes larger than DeepSeek's and has the capacity to potentially compete head-to-head with Google and OpenAI. The first proof is their video model, SeedDance 1.0, outperforming the new VO3 from Google. Yes, the one that generates both video and audio and has taken the world by storm on the video generation arena leaderboard right under everyone's noses. And aside from this state-of-the-art performance, their research papers are also goldmine themselves. There are just way too many to choose from, and in the next few weeks I'll probably be covering even more of them. But first, let's start with this old concept they have brought back to life called model merging. Back in the days where I make image generation content, you probably remember how model merging was used in the UNet to combine different styles and create cool new models. But for LLMs, model merging is something much less talked about. I mean, there's still quite a handful of papers on model merging in the post-training stages, many of which you can find using my website, findmypapers.ai. But for something much more fundamental like merging during pre-training, it remains relatively uncommon. Even though DeepSeek v3 and Llama 3.1 both mentioned using model merging in pre-training, the detailed methodologies were actually never published. And what may be the reason why model merging papers are rare is because pre-training experiments are a lot more expensive to conduct. Independent or even small research labs would struggle to properly evaluate model merging because it's just so goddamn expensive to run a single training run from scratch if you don't own the GPUs. And let's say you want to test it on a 70B model, it would probably cost like at least $2 million per one training run at market price. Then running that experiment multiple times just to prove a point would be incredibly costly. On top of that, who knows if model merging in the pre-training stage would even matter. So one, it's too risky to run an experiment that could cost tens of millions with no guaranteed improvements, and two, if you did conduct one and publish it, you will be handing free information to all your competitors, which is the antithesis of what top AI labs do, except ByteDance Seed, I guess. In their paper, Model Merging in Pre-Training of LLMs, they essentially spent millions to train these models while teaching everyone how to save millions. Not only did they show how to obtain accurate scaling law predictions for your own pre-training using model merging and that it provides a free performance boost, but they also proposed methods to salvage training if something goes wrong mid-training. And before we dive into how they discover all this, we all know how difficult setting up a model training run can get, especially if you have to secure GPU servers for that. So this is where RunPod comes in. They offer serverless services on top of their new RunPod hub to make deployment even faster. With serverless, it basically takes away the abstraction of server management by letting developers deploy code that would automatically scale with different GPUs and run without the need to maintain the infrastructure. As for RunPod's hub, it allows you to deploy ready-to-run AI repositories with only one click. So if you want to set up a training run, you can just simply go to RunPod hub, click on Axolot fine-tuning, deploy it, copy or modify these few lines of code, and you have a server up where you can run a model at scale and fine-tune it however you like. Besides Axolot, you can also choose from all kinds of other AI repositories that require some decent GPU power, ranging from Comfy UI, Olama Worker, Automatic 1111, Phase Swap, Deodify, Real ESR GAN, and more. You can also upload your own AI repository and create a serverless endpoint based on that. But why I think is the most exciting is that RunPod is rolling out a revenue share program for hub creators. That means soon, if your repository gets listed on the hub, you'll be able to earn money every time someone deploys it. And I think it's a great way to support open source projects while getting rewarded at the same time. On top of that, there's nothing else like this in the market right now. So if you want to get started with RunPod, check them out using a link down in the description, and thank you RunPod for sponsoring this video. Anyways, this model merging paper answers many questions about optimal pre-training, but first, let's cover the basics. A typical pre-training cycle follows a warm-up stable decay schedule. The learning rate starts with a brief warm-up period, then enters a long stable phase at a constant rate, and finally moves into annealing where the rate is gradually reduced, usually through cosine or linear decay to fine-tune the parameters and settle the model down. Their model merging process works like this. They save checkpoints at fixed token intervals. Afterwards, they average all those snapshots into one model. And surprisingly, this merged model will be able to reflect the performance you'd get after full annealing, letting you preview final quality while saving 3 to 6 days of training and about 15% of your compute budget. Pretty neat, right? They named this method PMA, short for pre-trained model averaging, which is a novel strategy for model level weight merging during pre-training. They demonstrated it on dense models ranging from 411 million to 70 billion parameters, as well as mixture of experts architecture with parameters ranging from 0.7b active and 7b total to 20b active and 200b total. That's 8 dense models in total including the baselines, and also 8 MOE models including the baseline, which could cost up to $15 million in GPU time. This finding then raised an interesting question: can't we just skip the annealing phase completely? Well, according to the experiments in this paper, model merging all the weights during the constant learning rate phase can pretty much outperform an annealed model immediately. Only after about 1.5 trillion tokens of annealing does the annealed model catch up. The only potential drawback I can imagine is if annealing continues its performance gains beyond the token budget they tested. Since model merging's gains are relatively flat, annealing could eventually surpass it, right? Because if you look at this trajectory, annealing the model might surpass merging the models with the constant learning rate when enough extra training is invested. But justifying that extra compute until annealing outperforms merging might be difficult for some. And in this paper's case, using a 1.3b active and 13b total parameter MOE model would cost an extra 20k for the annealed model just to get to the merged model's performance. So it can be skipped, but I wish they had tested it over even more tokens. Maybe they should have applied annealing to the merged checkpoints to see if that yields an even larger boost, but that kinda wouldn't make sense, which I'll get to later. And I still haven't addressed how frequently the intervals are for saving the checkpoints. So in practice, researchers found that the optimal interval scales with model size. This scaling also aligns with the tendency for larger models that would usually use larger batch sizes. As for how complex model merging has to be, the paper tested 3 methods. Simple moving average, where all checkpoints are equally merged, the exponential moving average, where earlier checkpoints are exponentially downweighted, and weighted moving average, where earlier checkpoints receive linearly decreasing weight. And the best performer turns out to be the simplest method, SMA. But in hindsight, wouldn't EMA and WMA be better? Well, as training progresses, checkpoints naturally converge closer together. EMA and WMA would then upweight these low variance late checkpoints that would contribute barely any new information. In contrast, SMA would preserve useful variance that is in the earlier phase of training. So even though all 3 methods converge to essentially the same point by the end, SMA's simple implementation and full window averaging makes it the better choice. But that still doesn't explain why model merging works so well that it can predict annealing performance, right? Well, think of the weights during the constant learning rate phase like a noisy signal with high frequency oscillation that slowly drifts towards the optimal point. And what annealing basically does is that it dampens those oscillations iteratively like a low pass filter. And here comes the interesting part. SMA over equally spaced checkpoints does virtually the same thing, but in one shot. It directly removes the high frequency jitter and leaves you with this smooth low frequency like component by cancelling out the positive and negative deviations across the window all at once, achieving a similar effect without ever changing the learning rate, as SMA basically reconstructs the weight vector you get after a full decay schedule. And in their 2D weight contour plot with MMLU accuracy as the contour, individual checkpoints from the intervals during pre-training would form a scattered ring around the basin, while the merged point sits right at the peak, visualizing the low pass filter intuition and how it averages out the noise. So theoretically, applying dampening twice, first with checkpoint averaging and then again through an learning rate decay, seems redundant, since both mechanisms aim to remove high frequency noise from the weight trajectory. But of course in practice, they are not perfectly equivalent, so annealing still has the power to push that already smooth model a bit closer to the optimum. It's just that we wouldn't know how much the performance gain would be, and we wouldn't know if it'll be worth it or not, as this paper did not experiment on this. So yeah, model merging is great, but when exactly do you use it? Well, in a nutshell, PMA is a cost reducing technique for model pre-training that provides early performance estimates, small but free reliable accuracy gains of 3 to 7%, and resilience to instability. So if you're doing a hyperparameter sweep or testing a scaling law hypothesis, model merging can potentially save you 10 to 20% of your budget and time. I can also imagine PMA stabilization property being really useful for crash recovery. Like if a loss spike derails your run, merging the last few stable checkpoints will often reset you back on track. And it helps stabilizing noisy setups like a large batch or mixed precision training, which can cause very spiky iterations. This could be pretty big for distributed compute too. Maybe something like periodic checkpoint averaging, which can smooth out model noise across multiple different copies of the same model on multiple different workers. So yes, the conclusion is the merging property of PMA is just really flexible. So with the pre-training era not without being completely over, as suggested by Chinese researchers smuggling 80 TP of data to Malaysia to train AI models, this paper is probably going to make a pretty big impact on the fundamental level in a very low-key way. And if you want to keep up with research like this, you should definitely check out my newsletter where I cover the latest and the juiciest AI research weekly. On there, you will be up to date on some of the best papers published from the previous week, and now we have a premium version where I recap 50 plus papers monthly. So if that's your cup of tea, join 10k other readers now at mail.bytecloud.ai. And thank you guys for watching. A big shout out to Ângelo Lescelius, LeDoux, Deagan, Nous Research, Clayton, Robert Zawiasa, Louis Muck, Ben Shaener, Marcelo Ferraria, Zane Sheep, Poof and Nous, DX Research Group, and many others that support me through Patreon or YouTube. Follow me on Twitter if you haven't, and I'll see y'all in the next one.